Latest figures show the number of cyclists killed or seriously injured on our roads has gone up. We know there's more traffic, but it seems that some drivers are willing to put their fellow road users at unnecessary risk. It's a weekend meet for members of the Satonia Cycle Club. 10 years ago, the Hampshire club averaged 70 members. Now, thanks to the rising popularity of cycling, it has more than 250. But with more bikes and more traffic on the South's roads, some of these cyclists are feeling the pinch.
A lot of them do pass very closely. The worst thing is when the motorists go past you and then pull in too soon.
I've been a victim of hit and run. Bike was a write-off, car was never seen.
Going down a hill and then someone overtook me and there was a bollard in the middle of the road, so they couldn't go wide. And it just, obviously bent the wing mirror back, but it was really painful.
It was last week I actually reported an incident to the council, city council. It was a taxi driver.
I'm going to report you. You took me too close, mate. It's not proper driving.
Did I hit you, Bob?
You were
Did
this
I
close.
hit you?
It's just one of hundreds of close passes,
Sick. Come on.
near misses, or even worse. Figures just released show between 2015 and 2016, nearly 3,500 cyclists were killed or seriously injured on our roads. But these stats don't tell the story of the near misses and close passes cyclists say they're experiencing every day. Rachel Aldred is behind the Near Miss Project. Her study of 1,500 cyclists found near misses and close passes to be an all too regular occurrence.
In this study, we only had the cyclist perspective, so there's a limit to what you can say. But I think what we did learn was that there's a broader road culture of, you might call it might makes right. So whereby people in larger vehicles kind of feel like they have a right to be in front, even if overtaking a cyclist, a slower road user, doesn't ultimately gain them any time.
Cyclists said they had on average one very scary near miss every week, and one per year so bad it made them reconsider how safe they were cycling.
Cycling is more dangerous in this country than it should be, but people also perceive it as extremely dangerous, and I think these kind of constant stream of nearly incidents do have something to do with that.
Phil Robertson is another keen cyclist. This morning he's out on one of Southampton's busy commuter roads. But all is not quite as it seems. Phil's part of an operation to catch drivers who are getting a little too close for comfort. First to be pulled in by the Joint Police and Council Initiative, a council van.
This morning what's happened is my colleague out and about on a motorcycle, the one that pulled you in, he's observed you overtake 3 cyclists this morning, including our unmarked police cyclist.
None of the drivers pulled in today will get a ticket, but they will get a talking to.
What we've got here, sir, is in relation to an overtaking distance of around about 1.5 metres.
Mats like these are now being used by police across the region to drive home the message on close passing.
So what we need to do is allow cyclists room to manoeuvre around obstacles, to react to what's going on in front of them, and also so that as motorists you're not intimidating a cyclist who is, let's not forget, a lot more vulnerable than you are in your car or your van, yeah?
Look how close some of these drivers were getting to undercover Phil's handlebars in the bottom right-hand corner.
As I was coming up to it, I had one on the left-hand side of me and one coming around the roundabout. I probably should have just stopped and let them pass, really. But
sometimes you don't get the room you require. I'm not trying to make excuses, but sometimes you can't help but being a little bit nearer.
But I found out today, 1.5 metres. When you're driving and you're looking at all the other traffic and stuff, sometimes you don't give that cyclist the space that's needed. But I guess we've learned that today.
When it comes to cycling, slower isn't necessarily safer. Riders who travel at less than 8 miles per hour have 3 times more near misses per mile than those pedalling at 12 miles per hour or faster. Women who, on average, cycle more slowly have higher near-miss rates than men. So could changes to the law help with the problem of close passes? Dr. Ian Walker is a traffic psychologist with the University of Bath.
The highway code is woolly in terms of what it says. Leave as much space as you would leave a car. I'd probably rather see that phrase as something like, leave as much space as you would like to be left if you were stood in the road. And that would probably be a much better thing that people could imagine.
Ian also thinks there's something else that could help change attitudes.
The idea of a presumed liability law is, if 2 people have an incident in the street, we start with the assumption that the more powerful, more dangerous one is at fault. If a cyclist hits a pedestrian, we start with the assumption the cyclist is at fault. If a motorist hits a cyclist, we start with the assumption the motorist is at fault. It's kind of a steam gives way to sail sort of idea. I would love to see cycling as part of the driving education process. That's going to give people the empathy, the genuine understanding of what it feels like to be in the road and have 1.5 tons of metal come past you at high speed. I think part of the problem at the moment is that drivers lack the understanding of how that actually feels.
Back on patrol, and the next close pass even rattles experienced police rider Phil. An HGV just inches away. The truck gets pulled. Turns out it's an instructor and his trainee.
You overtook him much too closely.
Yeah.
Okay. For both of you, that's important. You as a trainer, supervisor, and you as a driver.
He got within 6 inches of my shoulder. That's 18 tonnes. I'm 100 kilos. I'm 1 pothole away, and he's 1 distraction the cab away from becoming a statistic.
Curb, cycle,
One
and
meter 50, yeah.
this is where you should be.
Yeah,
You. This is you, and you should be this far over.
That's one lesson he won't forget in a hurry. Talking of lessons, even driving instructors can get it wrong. Although this instructor isn't that keen to advertise his services to the road safety team. Police forces say they're already seeing a fall in the number of close passes following this summer's clampdown. But perhaps there is one other way of keeping motorists at arm's length. Now, remember these? The Oxford safety reflector arm from the 1970s. You can still get them today, but chances are you had one strapped to your chopper. The only problem is they're barely wider than your handlebars, which gave me an idea. Not entirely convinced this is the solution, but let me know your thoughts. john.cuthill@bbc.co.uk. Still to come.